Well, greetings. I hope this video finds you well. We've got another Mint blog update, and I don't normally always cover these. In fact, my face is in the way, so let me just unscrew this up. There we go. Yeah, I can do this. So, hopefully, I'm assuming you guys probably don't follow Mint probably as closely as I do, but it's kind of my jam, so that's why I'm into it. But it's time for a little bit of coffee. And to look through this blog.
This is fine.
So one of the big things that Clem and the team have been looking over is, and I admit, Mint is or Cinnamon I should say, is extremely ugly without a default theme. So if you've ever installed it, and I'll see if I can't find some footage to put in here somewhere. Default Cinnamon looks like ass. Cinnamon with the Mint theme strapped onto it looks pretty good, actually. And so they're wanting to do some visual improvements. It's one of those things where they're kind of going for that slightly rounded look. I'd call it almost a little Android-y, a little bit like Material theme. Which is fine. The Mint team has always done a very nice job making their theme look very good, so I'm not going to complain. And this also looks pretty darn good. It's a little bit darker, a little more contrasty. I think it looks pretty good. As long as they don't completely flatten out the theme, I'll be okay with it. Otherwise, I'll be installing the old themes or finding some themes. But I don't mind the gap in the panel. It looks very professional, looks very modern. And that little rounded corner puts a nice little accent on things, and you still got your accent colors, which is the big thing. I'm a simple person. I like dark with an accent color, just like how basically all my systems work. And they redesigned the dialogues to kind of match the theme as well. I think that's a little bit cleaner than the old way of doing it was just kind of a box that was just slapped on there, and it was okay, but this is better. This is cleaner, and this clearly gives you a little bit of a look into what the future's probably going to hold for the Mint team on that one. So, for better or for worse. And yeah, that's pretty much what it looks like. The OSDs, I'm actually pretty keen on this, because if I go into extensions here, I actually typically run this horizontal OSD, which if I turn my brightness up and down, you can see does this, or if I mess with my volume, does this, whereas if I go in and turn that off, normally Mint's OSD box looks like this. I think what they're doing is going to be a lot better. I think once 21.2 comes, this extension will kind of no longer be a thing for me. For now, I'm going to keep it. I like the nice clean. Yeah, doing workspaces, that looks pretty clean too. So I'm glad they don't want to totally spoil everything, but they wanted to give us that little hint on what's going on, and I appreciate it. Those new themes, it's going to probably be across Mint 22, probably in 22.2 and 22.3, maybe even in 23. They're probably going to start cleaning up the UI and whatnot, getting ready for a little bit cleaner UI theme than they currently have. And I think that's good. I think it's good to modernize slowly over time and let your desktop evolve as you go. And it lets you get feedback along the way. So they're going to release these new UI adjustments and people are going to give their feedback. The Mint team is excellent at doing this. It's one of the things I really appreciate about them. So beyond that, the whole apt-kit thing, I am not a Linux expert. I am very much still a novice in my opinion. However, if you've been reading the blogs at all, the whole back end of the Ubuntu base, there are many packages that just aren't being maintained anymore. A great example of this, like they show here, apt-daemon, synaptic, gdebi, and apt-url are all old way of doing things. They still work. If I open up the menu, Synaptic Package Manager is still here. Gdebi, if you double click on a deb file. So let's just as an example do it this way. When you double click on a deb file and open it, Mint ships with an application called JDebi. And JDebi is this box right here. It's going to think about it for a moment because Google Chrome, it's got a few megabytes of data to go through and parse through. But essentially, this JDebi application is what is being the front end for dpackage to install a raw deb package onto your system. Will probably look very similar, but the back end is going to be completely different. And I hope it really helps them. They refer to it here as no more paper cuts. And no more translation problems. And I get it. Being able to change your back end. And the big one here that they talk about is app-daemon, Mint's app-daemon module. And Ubiquity will be discontinued eventually. Ubiquity, I believe, is the installer, like the Ubuntu-style installer. So eventually Mint will have to change their installer as well. Now, Mint team, if you're listening, or if you're open to it, I would happily submit feedback. You have a great installer in LMDE. Port that sumbitch. I'm just saying, it works really well. Probably what they'll do, but we'll see. But yeah, the big thing is no more paper cuts for the Mint team. They're actually going to be using apps that they help work on, but that are being actively developed and can be continued to do so. It sounds like you'll still have the ability to install Synaptic on future versions of Mint, at least for now, but that it's one of those things it's gonna disappear eventually. In fact, it's supposed to not even ship with Mint 22. I don't know if that means they'll leave it if it's installed, or if it's just not going to be installed if it hasn't been already installed. So, kind of some fascinating things. It looks like they got some extra things to do in Mint and the update manager and whatnot, which I'm not a programmer, but I also know that when you refactor code like that and you're completely shrinking how much code, it's a lot simpler to work on. And so I really hope they really sped up the software manager and the update manager in Mint 22. I hope that continues, because that'll be great. You get even faster responses and whatnot. And I'm excited. I think Mint 22.1 should be a good release. I'll cover it on the channel when it comes out. It's one of the few distributions I will cover on a regular basis, because it's my baby, pretty much. I'm a shill. What do you expect? You should use whatever works for you, but if I'm going to recommend a distro, you know what I'm going to recommend. It's worked pretty well for me, and I'm going to keep recommending it as long as it keeps working well, and as long as Clem and the team keep doing a fantastic job. So, that's pretty much all I have for today. And with that, I hope you all get out there and break some stuff. Y'all have a great day.